Hello, 8th graders. It is Mrs. Sepulveda. Happy day 6. Happy Monday. Today is also the first day of Spirit Week, so make sure that you are wearing your Stampede shirts to show your pride. I have my Stone Creek shirt on, so if you come through to collect a Chromebook today, make sure that you are wearing a Stone Creek shirt to show your pride. Upload those pictures to your Google Classrooms to show everyone how awesome you're doing. We're also being joined today by Stax, my puppy. She's in a mood, so I don't know. She might try to play and like bark at me during the video. Now she's being slightly less adorable. She might squeak her toy. I don't know. We'll see, but she'll be here. She'll be listening too. All right. So tomorrow is Wacky Hair Day, so make sure that you do something goofy to your hair if you come through to pick up a Chromebook tomorrow. I will be doing something. All right, let's jump in. Day 6, reading, guys. So just like every other day, independent reading, you are supposed to be reading a book or article of your choice and completing the reading log. Now, we're also going to be doing a climate change picture walk and reflection. And we're going to be reading and annotating source 1, writing the climate change waves for information to use in your narrative. All right. And then for writing, we're going to be completing the climate change reflection and analyzing the writing prompt. Sorry for that loud ding. All right. Here's your reading log. Same thing it's looked like the last week. Okay, so here are the pictures. Sorry again, for the climate change picture walk. Again, it would be more helpful if these were in color. So if you want to on your own, go ahead and like research climate change and like research what it does on the environment. I'm sure you will find a lot of really sad pictures in addition to these. So this appears to be some coral underneath the ocean. Here, it's really hard to tell, but it's probably green, probably a lot of stuff, probably really vibrant. And here it's white, so I'm guessing it's bleached out, which means it's kind of dead. Here is a picture. It looks like the forest. And it's a lot harder to tell on these ones, but the trees just look less green and kind of sad. I'm not really sure what this is showing a picture of, to be honest, guys. It kind of looks like if you're in an airplane and you look out the window, like as you're starting to land, where you can kind of see things. So I don't know, and this doesn't have a year either, but I can tell this is the same, body. It just, one picture has all these white spots here and this one doesn't. Maybe this is like human development and like roads in here. And it looks like there's more of that here. I don't really know. That's interesting. Okay. Analyze the writing prompt and identify the task and begin to plan your writing. A book editor comes to your class and talks about his latest compilation of short stories. A compilation is just like a collection of. All of the stories include information about the climate and climate change. The editor has invited your school to submit several stories for his next compilation. Before you can write your story, you must complete some research about climate change to incorporate into your narrative. Your research has led you to 3 articles and an infographic about the impact of climate change on the Earth. Narrative writing assignment. In your story, you will write about an event that occurs due to climate change. The story should be several paragraphs long. When writing your story, find ways to use information and details about climate change from the sources to improve the story and help you develop your characters, the setting, and the plot. Use details, dialogue, and description where appropriate. Your story will be scored using the following. 1. Organization, purpose. How effective was your plot, and did you maintain a logical sequence of events from beginning to end? How well did you establish and develop setting, narrative, characters, and point of view? How well did you use a variety of transitions? How effective was your opening and closing for your audience and purpose? 2. Development/elaboration. How well did you develop your narrative using description, details, dialogue? How well did you use relevant details or information from the sources in your story? 3. Conventions. How well did you follow the rules of grammar usage, punctuation, capitalization, and spelling? I also want to remind you guys, we've gone over what to do for a narrative. That's also in your study skills strategies. So tomorrow I'll pull it up, or when you actually start writing it, I'll probably pull it up just so that we can do like a gut check together. But just out loud for a narrative. 1, plan characters, setting, plot. 2, identify conflict and resolution. 3, use details from the text. 4, use sensory details, dialogue, and transitions. And 5, reread, edit, and revise. So that's part of your study skills worksheet quiz that we've been doing for the last like 2 months. So you guys should know that. I'll pull it up and show you again tomorrow though. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to be reading and annotating source 1 and start planning notes for your story. Remember, this is not an essay. This is not an argument like your last assignment was. This is a narrative. So this is like your point of view. What, like, imagine if you were there. Create a made-up story. Ooh, oh, I'm so excited. This is from Santa Cruz, guys. That's where I'm from. Yay. So this is source 1, Riding the Climate Change Waves. Oh boy. Santa Cruz, California. In 1885, 3 young Hawaiian princes brought surfing to North America. On a summer day, they surfed in Santa Cruz, California, using simple surfboards made from coastal redwood trees. Today, surfers check satellite weather forecast on their smartphones before heading to famous spots such as Steamer Lane and Pleasure Point. Yay, I know those places. In Santa Cruz, the biggest change in surfing could come in the next 100 years. The waves themselves may be changing. Are you laying down, puppy? Okay. Worrisome changes. Global climate change could affect many of the best surfing spots worldwide as the Earth continues to heat up and storm patterns change. In California, Monterey Bay's famous big waves might be in trouble. The forecast here is not certain, but it does not look good. It definitely worries me, said big wave rider Jake Wormholt, who has already noticed changes in water temperature and weather during the 35 years he has surfed in Santa Cruz. The waves that surfers ride in California often start out in the open ocean. Storms far out in the ocean send swells, sets of waves, toward the California coast. By the year 2100, I guess that's how we're saying those, these storms could shift, sending the swells parallel to the coast instead of toward it. So parallel is, remember, 2 lines that do not cross, do not intersect. So if like this is the California coast, normally waves come from the open ocean and they go woo, 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 and they crash on the coast, right? But if they're parallel, then they would be going this way or like back this way. So they would not be intersecting with the coast, which would be weird and make surfing kind of weird too. A change in swells and a rise in sea levels could wipe out many of today's beloved surfing spots. Riding the waves in 100 years. Scientists use global climate models to look almost 100 years into the future. With computers and calculations, scientists are able to make predictions using past conditions. Current trends and expected greenhouse gas levels caused by burning oil, gas, and coal. Recently, researchers used the models to study how warming might affect waves, said Lee Erickson, a coastal engineer with the U.S. Geological Survey in Santa Cruz. The results surprised both scientists and surfers, who had assumed a warmer and stormier future might push more waves to the coast. Well, I thought so too, Erickson said with a laugh, but she explained storms on land may not lead to higher waves along the coast. Good surfing conditions, large, well-shaped waves, depend on many different factors. Swells form in the deep ocean, and they are affected by local winds and storms. The swells must be sent in just the right direction to push up perfect waves. Climate change may upset this balance. We'll roll with it, said Pete Ogilvy, not sure, a Monterey Bay surfer for more than 30 years. He is facing the possible changes with a laid-back surf city vibe. The best waves may shift. Climate change may affect waves in several ways. As the ocean warms, polar ice caps will continue to melt. This will cause sea levels along the northern California coast to rise between 1.5 feet and 6 feet by the end of this century. Higher sea levels will change how waves break against the coast. As we increase sea level, those same size waves won't break over those nice bedrock ridges in the same spots that they used to, said Kurt Storlazzi, a geologist and oceanographer with the USGS office in Santa Cruz. They're going to break much closer to shore. John D. has been surfing in and around the bay for 20 years. He is concerned about losing the area's low tide surf spots, areas where waves are best when water levels are low. If there's a 3-foot low tide, everyone's out here, he said recently as he headed out to Steamer Lane. If there's a 5-foot tide, nobody's out here. Climate models predict larger storms and waves on the high seas, but the North Pacific swell, which creates many of the Monterey Bay's major winter waves, is expected to shift. As the temperature rises, especially in the Arctic, the big winter storms are moving further north, Storlazzi said. So areas along California are going to become less impacted from waves. That's a bummer for local surfers. Many of the bay's best waves come from northern Pacific swells. The El Nino factor. There is also a weather pattern that is a wild card in wave prediction. It's called El Nino, and it's almost impossible to predict over the long term. El Nino brings warm and high waters to the Pacific coast. Those are perfect conditions for strong storms to drive waves and winds directly into California's coast. That could improve surf conditions around Monterey Bay, at least temporarily. The El Nino waves hammer the shoreline, Storlazzi says. They're the biggest and best waves. If the predictions are true, Monterey Bay could end the 21st century with poor surfing waves. Still, the shifting climate and rising seas could create better surfing conditions in other places along the California coastline. It's impossible to know just where. The uncertain future may leave some surfers looking for hard answers. Others are taking a different view. When waves die in one spot and pick up in another, you move to that spot, Ogilvy said. And that is from News ELA. All right, so they gave you guys the template to take your notes and stuff here, and your sources here. So even though the source is a nonfiction source, a news article, you guys are writing fiction, you're writing a narrative. So think about how you can address this in your narrative. Are you a surfer? Are you a geologist? Are you studying the waves? I don't know. It's up to you guys, and we have to see what our other sources are. So we'll read those tomorrow, and that is all for today. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, 8th graders.